say hi to everyone. Thank you so much. I would like to start by saying this presentation will be on rethinking education. I have been an educator for quite some time, but my personal experiences are experiences that really made me rethink um, things about education, such as how we should maybe reform it, change it, and why, what's important in rethinking education, and what's maybe less important. My, my daughter was diagnosed with autism over 10 years ago. And this was a very dramatic experience for me, for us as the whole family. I didn't know much about autism at all. What I knew was not something that I know now, and I didn't want to accept it. I was asking all those questions. Why me? What is this about? What should I do? Uh, Eventually, we got some ideas how we can help our child. And we started this long journey of interacting with the educational system, trying to help my child in school. It was very hard. And to be honest, my daughter is 18 years old right now. She's in high school. It's still not easy. And at times, this journey gets even harder than it was in the second grade or third grade, which is very interesting. You would think it wouldn't be like that. You would think it would be getting easier, but it's not. And I remember at that time, I also had this thinking, something's missing in education. Something's missing. It's not working. The system is not working for children with special needs, and maybe it's not working for other children either. I didn't know what that was. I had no idea, but I had that deep thought in me, on my mind. And then when my daughter was 9, we got a dog, a golden doodle. And I remember looking at my child, interacting with the dog. It was just amazing to see what the presence of the dog did for my child. It was one of the most important experiences on her life, and interacting between these two. There is definitely something mysterious that both kids and dogs or other animals share. It was very interesting, very fascinating. And then something happened. My dog was growing, and we couldn't walk her because she was very strong, and we had to hire a trainer. And the trainer helped us with this because we really had no idea what to do. The dog already at that time, Carmel, was maybe about 50 pounds or more, and she was very, very strong golden doodle. And then the trainer said something to me, you know what, Barb, I think that Carmel would be an incredible therapy dog. Maybe you could do some more training with her. Maybe she can be a therapy dog. And I thought about it, maybe that would be a great idea. And I started thinking about it. Well, I know that therapy dogs go to school. They do something in school. They help children. I had really not much knowledge about it, but we did it. We did the training. We eventually got certified as a therapy dog team. And fast forward, I started going with my dog to a school. At first, we interacted in a very simple ways. I went in to the classroom with my dog. We were walking around. Children were learning math, science, social studies, whatever it was. And during that learning process, they were also petting my dog. So every child had a chance to pet my dog, whisper something to my dog, touch her several times during that learning period. And there were about 20 children. We do something similar in another classroom. And I remember after some time, maybe like 2 years after doing all these activities, I decided to write some books about it. And I interviewed teachers, and I asked the teachers, what benefits they saw. One teacher told me, the class was just so loud. We had really hard time managing this class. But when you came in, kids were settling down, they were learning, but they were also calmer. Something magic was happening. Another teacher told me, Barb, when you came in once, I remember I had a boy in the classroom who wouldn't talk to me at all. And Carmel touched the boy with her nose, and it was really funny to the boy. He thought it was funny. And he says, Carmel, I love you so much. You came to see me. And that was the breakthrough moment for the child. He started really talking from that moment and being a little bit more open to be able to communicate with the teacher. This really opened my mind to how incredible these interactions were. Then the COVID happened. We couldn't go to the classrooms anymore, but we did some remote therapy, which was very interesting. And also parents benefited from it because they participated. Children were in their homes. So they both interacted with my dog, both kids and children. So it was different, but it was very interesting. And then we came back to the school, to the classroom, and we saw that children's anxiety was up and their skills were down. So what do we do? Maybe we can do something creative with Carmel. Maybe we can include my dog more creatively to help children in writing skills or maybe some other skills. And the first activity we did was just very simple. We asked kids, hey, how does Carmel show that she's a kind dog? They were describing, because they all knew Carmel, they all had something to say about how Carmel shows kindness. And then we asked them, well, how what you learned from Carmel you could use, and how can you be nice and kind to other people? So they learned from Carmel, and then we coming up with all these ideas how they can show kindness to other people they know. And then they wrote about it. Some of these kids didn't even write a word. They just didn't want to write. And here they were writing. They still needed help, but they were willing to do it. They were motivated. They were engaged. They wanted to write because it had something to do with Carmel. Kids, I read a book, one of my books to children. They were interested in me as an author. They were asking me, how did you write the book? How did you publish? And I say to them, well, guess what? It's not that hard. You can actually write books too, and you can publish them too. They were stunned and they asked, can we write books? And again, these were kids who could barely write a word. They ended up writing incredible books. Each book had about like 7, 8 mini chapters. It was just so cute and amazing. And we were helping them in this project. Then the following year, we did math activities. We had a group of children whose math skills were very, very weak. And we did something creative with Carmel. But again, something simple. One of the activities was simply giving every child a math fact, such as addition or subtraction. And they were hiding in the classroom. The teacher was very creative. She had different objects in the classroom. So there was a lot of space for kids to find places to hide. And then when Carmel finds you, you will read the math fact, you will say the calculation, the answer, and Carmel will let you know if it's right or wrong or incorrect. And the way it happened was Carmel either sat down or she she wagged her tail or she sniffed the math fact, and the child was just screaming, I'm right, because Carmel just sat down, or Carmel's wagging her tail, I'm right. And they were coming up with all kinds of ideas. Whatever Carmel does, it indicates that I'm right. Uh, Usually at the end of this period, kids didn't want to end the activity. They were entertained, they had fun, they had physical movement. And these were the kids who did not want to come to this remedial math group because they knew they are there for a reason. They are just not doing so great in math. But the presence of my dog changed everything. Right now, we interact with fifth graders. We do social studies. We do science. We just did an incredible butter project. Kids made their own butter with Carmel's help, of course. This shows that you can include responsibly, properly therapy animals at all stages of really educational career of children, which is absolutely amazing. You can modify it, of course, because children's age will influence these activities, but you can do it. But going back to the initial statement that these personal uh, events from my life made me rethink education a little bit. And I think it made me rethink educational reform and change in several ways. Number one, mental health. When we reform education, when we make changes in education, and I usually can talk a lot about what's happening in our New York State, we usually never think about children's mental health. Like, how does mental health connect to what kids learn and the way they learn? If there are activities, strategies in teaching that do not enhance children's mental health or maybe are even detrimental, why don't we use these strategies? Why don't we use research that tells us more about it? And in our activities with my dog, kids were kids are calmer. They also learn a lot of social emotional skills. Even when we were not in the classroom, we went there only once a week, kids uh, said to the teacher, we have to learn more about patience because Carmel is a patient dog. We have to learn more how to be more patient. So they were really learning from my dog. Then another area is inclusion, inclusive classroom community. We all want to create inclusive classroom communities, but do we ask ourselves how to do this and what's really effective? Right now, we still have a lot of bullying, and bullying even changes and becomes more nuanced. But how do you effectively create inclusive classroom communities? When my dog was in the classroom, I remember at one point the teacher says, you know what? Look at these two children. Usually they don't work together. But right now, when they helping each other with the books, they work together. You know why? Because Carmel is here and you are here. And there is something happening here. There is a community we are creating, and you are part of the community. And it influences how children interact with each other. So that was very powerful. And I think the third thing to me that is very important, and I think we should ask this question, but I never hear it asked if it comes to any kind of changes in education, and it's never asked by those who make changes in education. Like, what type of people do we want to educate, develop through education? Imagine these kids in like 10, 20 years and they are standing in front of you, who do you want to interact with? Do you want to interact with someone who is sensitive, someone who cares about other people and the world? Who would you like this person to be? Isn't that a very interesting question to me? And in these activities that we have with my dog, like when children were working on the books, they created life goals, which was totally unexpected. We had no idea this was going to happen. Some kids wrote that they would like to have therapy dogs in the future to go to places and help other people. Some wrote that they would like to be authors. They would like to write like 1,000 books, which was kind of funny, but still, that was a real goal that they created. So I think that these questions do matter in educational reform, in thinking about how to rethink education. And I didn't learn how to ask these questions anywhere at any point of my studies in master's degree, in PhD. I've learned what matters by experiencing my personal events and connecting them with my professional career. And that was the way I learned what's important in education. And thank you so much. I think my time is up.